All right, what is up, chat? Day 2. Cleaning. Cleaning time. Clean, clean. What's going on, chat? As I finally get prepared. I'm never late. Never late, always on time. What is up? What is up tonight, chat? What up? What up? Blazin, welcome. Lucifer, welcome. Day 2 of card cleaning, chat. We had a good day yesterday. Well, not from the tech side, but from the cleaning side. My primary, it's like, I don't know, some entity does not want me to clean these cards because my main Tom Love, my main microscope, did not want to turn on this morning. But luckily, I was smart enough to buy a backup, so I got a new one. So we'll see. This one was charging all day, so we'll see if this goes well. Dow, welcome. And we got some pretty big bangers coming up this stream. So as I put my gloves on, Elijah Cooper, welcome. Whether you're watching me on YouTube or TikTok. What is up? What is up? Isaac, welcome. Gaz, what's going on? What is up? What is up? What is up? Scratchy Lugia. Alright. So the gloves are on. Tried cleaning a card yesterday around the edges and ended up creating whitening. Oh no, Gaz. Man, YouTube is like significantly delayed. Jessica, thanks so much for the subscription. So if you guys are on YouTube, I apologize. My stream is pretty delayed over there. I think I accidentally put it on low latency instead of ultra low. So my responses are probably going to be delayed, but apologies for that. But Gaz, that sucks, man. Sorry about that. I got this in plate condition. Wish it was at you and me both, RM. You and me both. All right. So this is what we, as a recap from yesterday, this is what we were able to get done. So we got the Heracross, the Venusaur, the Togetic, the Charizard from Topps, the Blasty from PSA 7, PSA 7, and then the First Ed Holo Team Rocket. How much does Edgeware contribute to the grade compared to Corner White? I would say depending on severity, you can range anywhere from 7 all the way down to a 1. So it really just depends on severity, to be honest with you. Bow, welcome in. So again, if you guys are watching me on YouTube, apologies. The delay is pretty long, but I have delayed long enough and I don't want to restart my stream. So if my responses are delayed over on YouTube, that is why. So welcome, guys. We're just going to get right into it. This is card cleaning day 2. And we got a pretty spicy one to start off with to continue our cleaning. So let's just get right into it. So if you guys have any questions about anything that I'm doing tonight, I welcome any and all questions, even if I answer them the exact same. So we got this beautiful Lugia that we get to try to see if we can do some work on. So Lugia is very, very tough to grade, just due to that huge section of holo right there. So we're just going to get right after it. So I appreciate all the likes and shares and follows so far, guys. Really does mean a lot that you guys share my content and help spread the word. 'Cause at the end of the day, I'm just here to try to share with you guys some stuff that I know as much as I can. So I really do appreciate that. How do you feel about fixing creases like the heat pen method? I saw the heat pen method not too long ago. to be honest. I haven't personally pursued it because it seems like there's new techniques that come out all the time. I mean, I've used things like a humidor, but I haven't used a heat pen. But I know exactly what you are talking about. But, yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends. It depends on the crease and whatnot. Alright, so Lugia time. Let's take a look. And at the end, so this is a cleaning service that one of the community members submitted their cards for. So I'm going to basically go through this whole thing and just talk with you guys. So welcome in. So first, we're going to get some Q-tips here. We'll see if we can probably keep a Q-tip counter. Wonder how many Q-tips I'm going to be using for stream tonight. So let's take a look at this Lugia. And so we do have, you can kind of see in the little monitor preview up on the top there. I'm going to try to use these new lights are way better on this newer model than the older one. So you kind of see those dirt marks in that top right corner. So we're going to tackle those real quick. So what I'm doing, if this is your first time here, all I'm using is distilled water and a Q-tip. And right now, I'm on the side, I'm rolling the Q-tip around and just like a microfiber towel. Ben, thanks so much for following over on TikTok. Appreciate you. Let's get after it. So we want to make sure that the moisture is not too much. We don't want to waterlog the Lugia. Do graders look and grade the cards how you're looking at them? I would say with using tools like mine, such as a microscope, because you got to think, right, that these people professionally look at cards all day. And so something like this helps with that eye fatigue. So I would imagine, yes, that they do. They won't clean your cards, though. They won't, like, remove dirt for you, though. Just keep that in mind. What's the device that I'm using? I'm using a Tomlov DM201. The link is also in my bio in my link tree. I don't have an affiliate code or anything like that, but when people ask me, it's just a direct link to that page. All right, so what I'm doing right now is to kind of like talk out loud here. Steve, thanks so much for sharing the live over on TikTok. Appreciate you. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to feel and see if these little black dots that we see are embedded into the card or are kind of set on top of the card. So right now, I'm really trying to be careful here and try to just feel if I feel any raised edges here, so to speak. So normally, if I feel something kind of go across, means that I can still kind of work at it and try to get some of that dirt off. But this, and I'll probably show it when I bring the card closer up, will probably look like it's kind of more or less embedded into that yellow border. So I'm not gonna really pursue that too much because I'm not really feeling anything raised. How can I send you a card to be cleaned? So all my cleaning services are on my website, which is galaxiagamingtcg.com, and under support there is card cleaning. You can also find that link in my bio. Churro, thanks so much for the #2 gift badge. Harry, thanks for the follow. And so as we're kind of going around, Mike, welcome. Rod, welcome. As we kind of go around here, get rid of some of that stuff. Churro, thanks so much for following the live. Appreciate you. Again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know in chat. I'll do my best to try to not only focus on this submission, we do have a pretty big one right here with this Lugia. And so one tip that I will give, I was talking about this a lot yesterday. Normally if I see bits of dirt on the edge, I really try to be careful to not drag the Q-tip from the outside in because I don't want to cause any unnecessary whitening. So I'm going to try to get as close to that edge as I possibly can. I'm actually going to use a new Q-tip because there's something stuck on that keeps getting left on the card. Yes, I do, Happy. With the emphasis on I clean cards that do not introduce any techniques that would be considered altering. So I don't use card wax, I don't use pens, I don't use glue, I don't use anything else. All I use is just distilled water, and I address things that are added onto a card, like dirt, debris, thumbprints, stuff like that. So it's all still within kind of the guidelines of grading and PSA and all that fun stuff. What I put on the Q-tip, Harry, I put on distilled water. It's so funny, like everyone, like these like badges that people give, like no one gives gifts, and then all of a sudden like you guys are like #1, #2, #3 gifters. It's really interesting. And it's like, it seems like that's was very sudden with all the TikTok on and off. So we got some dirt here by the Game Freak. Let's see if we can get rid of some of that. Do you find with microscopes you end up seeing more edge wear due to the angle of the card, which is in the top edge? That makes sense. Almost like you're looking at the card side in. That's a good question. I would say that I don't say that it like makes it more obvious. I would say that, you know, since you're looking at it much closer, it just becomes like when I look at a specific dot or something like that that I feel like is like huge on the microscope, but then when you look at it at kind of like non-zoomed in level, it looks so much smaller. You can't even see it with the naked eye, which is really interesting. But again, I would bet you guys that they use tools like this, because if someone's looking at cards like for a profession and thousands of them, this really saves, you know, kind of like your eye fatigue, so to speak. And I'm gonna try it one more time. Let's see if we can use some other techniques here. So instead of just kind of coming at it with the tip of the Q-tip, we're just gonna kind of do what we were doing yesterday and do a little bit of a set here and see if we can loosen up anything. How long have you been doing this? I've been doing the card cleaning part just for my own stuff probably since like 2022 probably, but I haven't offered it to the community until really the end of last year, to be honest, because I've done it for all the cards that I've personally submit to PSA, or I always go through and kind of do the same process with any card that I get. And so, yeah, and I just figured, you know, if someone wants to take advantage of the service, I'm going to offer it. So we're going to leave those alone because I haven't been able to take care of those. So instead of doing any more damage or potentially more damage, even though these techniques aren't really causing any damage, we don't need to pursue it because it's just simply not getting off. We're going to kind of mark our defeat there. And then once I kind of show it, we'll see if it's just hollow or anything like that. So if you can't see with the naked eye, would you consider a 10 because you can see it on a microscope, or would you go 9? So I'd say it really depends, Gaz. So certain instances, I would argue that, you know, even though I can like see it on a microscope, that it still would get a 10, but those cases are very minimal at best. So I kind of like, and you've kind of seen probably with my grade review streams, which I'll be having tomorrow. In most instances, if you see a little bit of whitening on a corner, chances are I'd probably get a 9 in most cases. Mark, thanks so much for following the live. Appreciate you. So right now I'm just looking at the Lugia right now, and there's really not much on the Lugia itself that I'm really concerned with. So people pay you to clean their cards before grading. How much are these services? Yes, Happy. So there's a range anywhere from basic all the way to premium. So this individual who I let's see if I can try to talk. Let's try that again. So the person who wishes to remain anonymous used the advanced tier, which is 10 per card with a 5-card minimum. And not only do I go through all the techniques that you're seeing right now, but I'll also do, and I'll provide a PSA grade assessment on my own. Because on a other stream, which you'll probably see tomorrow if you show up, or if you stop by, I do grade reviews where I kind of review with the community what I think your cards would get as a PSA grade. And so since I have these in person versus looking at them on the computer, I can kind of give a more educated guess on what I think your cards would get. So that's kind of where it is. And it also ranges. El Panda, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate you. So if you just kind of like want your cards just be clean because it's like your personal collection or whatever, the lower tier is more appropriate. But someone who may or may not want these cards graded or just simply improved on a little bit, then that's it. Can you do creases as well? All depends, Victor. I would say that leans more towards the premium, because stuff like that tends to take a few days, because it has to go more or less through multiple treatments of using like a humidor, which I kind of consider for my services as an advanced technique, as well as some acrylic plates and pressing and kind of tender love and care. Gaz, for me, since using the microscope, I've noticed slight whitening on the edges rather than corners. Have been good. However, wouldn't necessarily see the edge put off. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Gaz, like, you're spending money on submitting, right? So I'm kind of in that same kind of boat. Like, I'd rather be a little bit more conservative, because you don't want to be out money if they're kind of going to give you a grade that you didn't want. But so it's considered alteration, trainer. It's considered alteration from a grading perspective. Can you scratch it if you're not careful, for sure? So one thing I kind of often say when I use a Q-tip is you really have to be sensitive on how hard you're pressing into the card. And to be quite honest, it's really hard to kind of articulate how much pressure I'm putting. So I recommend, you know, just kind of doing trial and error with some certain cards. And to be quite honest with you, try to like really hammer in and see how much you can put in before you put a dent in. But obviously I wouldn't do that on a Lugia, let alone a Lugia that is not mine. So we're kind of taking a quick look here at the Lugia. Do they know if someone has used Kurtz? Sometimes they do, but then sometimes they don't. You know, I'm not going to pretend that they know every single time. So right now I'm just kind of taking a quick eye peek at those two little pesky black dots in the corner there. And it looks like kind of, it's pretty hard to show on stream specifically, but it might kind of be in a kind of the layer in which I can't really remove it without potentially damaging the card. Just sub this. Oh yeah, dude, that's awesome. Well, hopefully you have a good submission. But the centering of this Lugia on the front is really good, for sure. What's the Humidor doing? So what the Humidor does, it introduces a bit of humidity to the card. So it allows it to become, you know, for the lack of a better word, more malleable. So things like creases make it a little bit easier to kind of try to flatten out when the card is a little bit more humid. So that's why using a Humidor is kind of nice in certain scenarios. But you have to kind of do it in multiple sessions, because if you introduce too much humidity, you're going to have some issues. You eyeball centering instead of using a tool. So when I'm done and I put these in a top loader or something like that, I would. But I would normally use like a tool, like if we're kind of looking at like 9 or 10, I would use a tool. But for this Lugia, for example, you can kind of see, I kind of call them like clustered scratches in this like huge area, which again, Lugias are extremely hard to grade because of all this hollow in that bottom left. And so since there's kind of clustering of hollows, I know this won't get the 9 or a 10. So measure the centering more or less isn't really needed at this time. But yeah, for anything that I would like strongly consider grading as trying to get that at least a 10, I would use a tool for sure. But the eyeball, I've done this so many times that I can tell that the centering is most likely within the 50-50 range. So far this is really good. The only thing, again, that's kind of giving us some issues, and I'm actually going to try hitting that. There's a little bit of something you probably can't even see on stream, but there's a little bit of kind of like some hidden dirt here. So let's see if we can kind of get rid of that. There we go. There we go. It's almost like a little like hidden stain there. No, you're good, Gaz. That's like I said, I wouldn't welcome questions if I felt annoyed by them. So that's why you have to be really careful. You have to be really present with the card, because if you're not constantly checking in on it and making sure that the humidity is within a good range, then yes, if the humidity is too high, you could cause more damage than good while using a Humidor. Normally what I use is I technically have it, or typically I have it around 70% humidity, and I'll leave it in there for about a half an hour, elevated on like these acrylic stands, so it doesn't get like stuck to the bottom of the wood or anything like that. What would you think this card will grade? No, I didn't answer it quite yet, Jonathan. I'm actually going to be addressing the back first, and then once I'm done with the back, since we have to look both at the front and the back to give a proper assessment, I'll definitely give my assessment for sure. And again, thank you guys so much for all the likes and follows and whatnot. Definitely appreciate it. Appreciate you guys giving me that feedback, knowing that you guys like this kind of stuff, so it's always nice. So I appreciate you guys. But yeah, what's nice about this service is instead of just me kind of cleaning it and not really kind of giving my 2 cents, this is the advanced tier. For those of you who are wondering or interested in this service, what you're seeing live, the advanced tier not only has the same kind of cleaning, but I also kind of take a little bit extra time to give my assessment on what I think this card would get as a PSA grade. Five. Yeah, I hear you, Bradley. All this to get 1 grade higher. Well, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, too, right? Like, if you had, say, for example, if this was like your childhood card and you wanted just a little bit cleaned up, you know, the surface is good too. But having it be a Lugia, you know, it's a pretty big chase for Neo Genesis, so has its benefits. Would you say that this is whitening on that left edge? No, I wouldn't. Like this, I would. Right here, I would. Like right where the tip of my Q-tip is, but all this right here, since it's kind of at a like angle with the microscope, that's not. 1 grade can be hundreds of dollars. Yeah, exactly, Legends. Yeah, I don't think this one's going to be like anything like crazy because of the scratching on that hollow, but do you think this card would get a 10 if it has only one? Do you think a card could get a 10 if on only tiny white speck in a corner? Sometimes, Ram. I would say, and this kind of goes for anyone, if you guys want me to check out your cards to give a free kind of grade review for PSA specifically, I do a grade review stream every Wednesday starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's completely for free, but it is first come, first serve. And you can submit your cards in the Discord, which is in my link in bio in my link tree. So if you're interested in that, definitely check that out. Legends, thanks so much for being a member. Appreciate you. I appreciate that. Thank you. The cleanup setup is wild. Yeah, it took a lot of trial and error for sure. Let's see. Can we buy a cleaning kit from you? No, but everything that I use is in my link tree under the shop. I don't have like any affiliate codes or anything like that, but all like the stuff that I bought is just through Amazon. And so more or less you can kind of just like buy the kit yourself. I just pretty much just show you guys what I do and then all the stuff that I use. So so Steph, I'm currently cleaning a card. I'm cleaning a Lugia currently. So let's take a look. I was looking through the micro. Yeah, exactly, Gaz. It's just honestly just trial and error, to be quite honest with you. No, I don't. I don't. Not enough people bought it. Too sad. A lot of recommendations, but not a lot of people bought it. Okay, so now this is where we kind of do the review. So I clean the front, I clean the back. So now this is kind of where I kind of do like a quick grade review in person. So the one thing I can notice is that the borders are very well centered. So the centering on the front's good. The only thing that I saw in terms of dirt that I could not remove, I was able to get some on this left edge, but in the top right, there's 2 little specks of dirt, and I'll put it under the microscope so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So these 2 little specks were more or less kind of embedded into the edge. So when I was going through and I wasn't able to get rid of it, it just kind of boils down to, you know, you kind of have to admit when the mark has been defeating you, and I don't want to put any more pressure into it, so I don't want to ruin the card or make it worse than it already is. So that is kind of just left alone. But the other stuff was actually in pretty good shape. So it's really just the clustering and the hollow there. So right off the bat, when we're kind of like looking in here, we're already kind of like just on the front alone. We're more dancing on like the 7 or 6 territory, but it's really kind of the back that's kind of making it a little bit rougher. So when we kind of see the back here, so really the big one, and I'll kind of put it under the microscope again just so I can kind of better talk about it. And I know it's going to look huge, but it's not as big in person. But this right here, this pretty significant bit of whitening, and luckily it's kind of interesting that there's a little bit of blue edge kind of hiding some of that whitening on top. So if I took my Q-tip over that right now, my chances are I'd probably remove that little bit of blue, almost like those people who are balding significantly and kind of put that comb over. That's basically the comb over version of a Pokemon card. So we don't want to touch that. We want to just leave whatever bit of hair is on that bald spot. So we have a little bit of whitening here. We also have some whitening here on that top right corner. In addition, we do have some pretty notable surface scratches on the back. And, you know, although it doesn't have as much of an impact as the front, meaning like with the hollow and whatnot, you know, it will have some degree of impact on the overall surface of the card. But aside from that, the whitening is really just kind of being held back by that top corner. So I would say in addition, and I don't really think I can kind of show it on the microscope because I'm on it almost doing it on like a 2D plane. But there was one spot, I can't find it. Let's see. I think it was on the back. that near that, like where this whitening is, it is slightly kind of, not like aggressively, but a little bit folded. So I'd probably say with this card, with that bit of kind of more aggressive whitening, and these kind of dirt marks in the top right-hand corner there that we just simply couldn't get rid of. The other stuff that we were able to get rid of. I would say you probably get lucky if you got a 7, but I would say realistically, if I were to submit this, just because of the clustering of the scratches and kind of more notable whitening that's kind of being saved by that little comb over there, I'd probably be more comfortable probably assessing it as a 6, to be quite honest with you. So now, when we put this in the sleeve, so now this service also allows me to put this in pretty much PSA ready submission here. And so now they don't allow the pull tabs anymore, which is a shame. But we have the penny sleeve and then the semi-rigid. And then I have to just put on the PSA 6 label. And now I'm going to kind of catch up with you guys, because I saw you guys talking, but I just wanted to make sure that I got my thoughts out there during my kind of review. But how do I get you to do this for my cards? Well, Just, if you're interested in the card cleaning service, if you go into my bio and my link tree, you can go to my website, which is galaxiagamingtcg.com. And from there, if you go to support and card cleaning, you can kind of see all of the available tiers for card cleaning. Currently, what you're watching right now is the advanced tier, which not only allows me to do basic cleaning like what you're seeing on stream tonight, but I also give you my assessment on PSA grades. And for those of you who are wondering, why should you listen to me? At the end of the day, like, I don't work for PSA, so everything that I'm saying is just merely from experience. But I do weekly grade reviews. So I do a grade review every Wednesday. We're actually going to be episode 51 tomorrow. So I stream every Wednesday. Did you do one yesterday? I did do one yesterday. Yep. We got a lot to go through. So this one, for example, since we're kind of looking at the advanced tier, you can kind of see that there is a pretty significant impact on this Clefable. And to be quite honest with you, it almost looks like it kind of got sat on a staple, to be quite honest with you. No, they don't, Dom. When they updated their terms and conditions, that's what ultimately they decided, is that you have to use a penny sleeve and then semi-rigid. Trust me, I had a bunch of pull tab sleeves, and they all are pretty much worthless for PSA grading, but I still use them for my shows and stuff. So we have pretty much what it looks like a staple that got kind of like pressed really hard into this the Clefairy. Additionally, we do have a little bit of a bend here, and it's just a little bit more noticeable on the back near that end. So this service with the advanced, there's really not much we can do in terms of trying to press that card or anything like that. But to be quite honest with you, since it is just like a standard base set, this card really isn't a lot, to be quite honest with you. But is grading done by a person? I always guessed it was scan kind of thing. So there are certain grading services that do just AI. I know more notable AI exclusive companies, I believe, are AGS and TAG. But what I traditionally stick with, just from a business perspective, because at the end of the day, if you want the best return on your investment, PSA currently is just the number one, kind of more bang for your buck. So that's what I typically stick with. And at the moment, and I'm sure this will change, but at the moment, it's just with people. Yeah, I know, Gaz. It's crazy. I don't know if it's just the migration from TikTok when it was kind of going banned or what, but yeah, I really appreciate that for sure. Any modern in today's cleaning? No, it's all from like base set and a little bit of jungle, a little bit of Team Rocket. So yeah, we'll at least try to pretty up this Clefairy as much as we can, but I think those impacts, those more or less staple impacts, are going to have a pretty significant impact on the overall grade that we're going to give this thing. Where am I located at? I'm located in New York. That's where I'm located. East Coast. It is so cold by me that I was actually asked by my landlord to turn on my sink so my pipes don't burst. So keep that in mind. Pura, thanks so much for sharing the live. Yeah, I know, Gaz. I'm very, very appreciative, for sure. Across the country. Wow. Yeah, I had people from... Someone said, like, hello from Switzerland yesterday, which is kind of cool. The power of the internet, man. It's crazy. It's crazy that you can just meet a bunch of people from around the world. Did you try to buy a base set 2 Zard on eBay? I don't think so. No, really the only things I've been picking up on eBay are just PSA 7s, to be honest. And then there's a few... I think I'll show it after this Clefairy, but there is a few legend cards that I bid on that were raw. Found out yesterday for the first time that I'm from Florida. There you go. Exactly, Apple. I can put you wherever I want. You want to be in Louisiana today? I can put you in Louisiana. How's that sound? Yeah, so on the microscope, and that's kind of why it's important to kind of still look at it from an eye view, because right here is where one of the dents are. And then you can probably see it right here too, right when I kind of like push it, like where the light kind of bends around, like almost like the circle pattern. There's a pretty significant bump at the tail of that Clefairy. Had to ask, trying to buy mine from New York. Oh, okay. That's cool. But no, not buying, no base set 2s. You guys must be stoked. I don't know if you're a skier or snowboarder, but you must be stoked that all the snow's actually sticking around. I know you Vermonters love your skiing and snowboarding, even though it's like violently cold right now. So honestly, there really wasn't much dirt on this Clefairy. It's just really the those impacts. So if I can kind of take a look here. So again, so this is actually a pretty good thing that I could probably address. So see how almost like how significant that impact is? That's a really good shot at it. You know, in certain scenarios, we might be able to kind of flatten some of that out, but it is so deep, and you can kind of really see it on the back there. That's something like that. You know, will still be there regardless on how many sessions. It would probably get less, but something like that would still show up and still impact your overall surface grade. So it's definitely not a guarantee that you could get something like that out. In fact, I would probably, even if this was on the premium tier, I'd say, you know, I'll try my best, but that's definitely not coming out. And that's because it looks like almost like it was like on the backside of a staple. Those little, like they're exact. Those exact little puncture marks. It's very interesting. Gloves damage cards. Interesting. I can assure you that it does not. So I've been doing this for a very long time. Saw a little bit of a dirt mark there. So let's flip it over as much as we can. At least the centering's good. At least the centering's good. So let's take a look. A little bit of dirt there. Let's see if we can. Man, I think that's like the one trend that I've noticed on these cards so far is that there's so much dirt like right on the edge. From Dead Mark, welcome Klaus. Special cotton swab you use as in plain water. Yep. So all I'm using, I think I'm pronouncing is it Klaus? All I'm using is just distilled water. That's all I'm using. Just some distilled water. And then just really being careful on how much pressure I actually put onto the card. That's pretty much it. What PSA submission assistance add-on for card cleaning? So if you're talking about through PSA specifically, they don't actually clean your cards. That's why it's so important to kind of go through and look at the condition of your cards beforehand, because they're not going to care. Like if you leave all this like little bits of dust and debris on, they're not going to they're not going to take that off for you, for sure. They're not taking that off for you. But yeah, this card chat is pretty cooked. Hey, buddy, I have a question. I have all my childhood original cards. I'm looking to get all... Let's see. Better ones sent down and graded. Awesome, Smiley. Well, like I said, if you're just joining me for the first time, I would definitely recommend joining the Discord because we do a free grade review every Wednesday. There is a bit of a queue, so I just don't want to put your hopes up, but that's a really good opportunity for you to kind of share with us, the community, what you have, so that we can kind of point you in the right direction on whether or not your cards are worth getting graded or not, just so you can kind of not waste your money or anything like that. Oh, I'm at your site. There is add-on PSA submission assistance. Oh, I'm sorry, Happy. Sorry, the how I have to read comments kind of cuts them off a little bit, so I apologize if I missed anyone. So basically all that is like if you need help, like if the process is too much, or if you just need someone that has experience in it before, I'll basically just sit with you and kind of guide you through the entire step. So that's what that is. I apologize. I probably didn't catch that bit, so hopefully that cleared that up. Would you ever think air compressor? Honestly, no. To be quite honest, my office is small enough as it is, so probably not. Okay, so real quick, I'm just going to assess this Clefairy real quick. So centering on the front is, I guess, if anything, is pretty good. There's some silvering pretty much all around the edges, which again, silvering, and we kind of take a look here. So silvering is these bits of hollow that kind of bleed out on the edge here. So you can kind of barely see it here. And if you've been here before, I apologize, you're about to hear this again. But silvering is when the blades during the cutting process were starting to get too dull, and they're kind of basically stripping that yellow layer off, which results in kind of seeing that hollow on the edge. So that's what the term silvering is. But really the big thing that's going to take this card back significantly are 1, 2, 3, 4, those big impacts on the card, and most notable on that hollow. And again, I can kind of take a look and kind of shimmer it a little bit. You can definitely see that will have a pretty significant impact, and you can kind of see on the back as well. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'd say with those impacts, like you're already looking at this card being damaged. I wouldn't say it's heavy play. I would say, you know, it is damaged. They're very noticeable, especially on the front. So you're probably looking at, like in this case, like the edges are actually in pretty good shape, as well as the hollow is in pretty good shape. So I don't think you were getting into like the 2 or 1, but I'd probably say you're probably looking at like anywhere from like a 3 to a 2. But I think because there's no other like craziness going on, you're probably looking at a 3 would be my guess. But with that hollow, maybe a 2. But again, I don't really grade 3s or 2s often. So that's kind of more of like an educated guess based on seeing some other folks. But for that Clefairy specifically, I probably wouldn't grade it anyway. But all right, so now I'm looking back at chat, so I apologize if I missed your stuff, guys. Do small yellow circle print errors affect grading? How impactful are they? That's actually a good question, Happy. So I know we looked at it maybe like a week or 2 ago. PSA has an official PSA error guide. So anything like that with like an ink error that you're talking about, chances are if it's on that official kind of list, then it means that they would grade it as an error. So it wouldn't have like a significant impact or a decrease in your grade because they'd recognize that as an error. A couple of first edition Machamps. There you go. The Machamps that will pay off your house, will buy you a Lamborghini. Every time someone says, oh, I have a first ed Pokemon card, I'm ready to cash into my 401k. That's normally what it is. Found out recently that a friend of mine actively collects only Lickitungs and Trampa cards. Well, that's cool. Hey, everyone's got their thing. I know there's another guy who I talk with every now and again on TikTok, who's a huge Lickitung collector. So everyone's got their one, man. Everyone's got their favorite. Is it normal for cards to have a slight bend? I would say if you leave them out for too long, would be most likely the case. But that's about it. But all you have to do, like if there is a slight bend, I recommend this often. All you have to do is just kind of put them in a penny sleeve, just like this, and put them in like the middle of like a heavy book or something like that, and put some more weight on it so it kind of flattens out. Shadowless Hitmonchan worth anything? Pretty much anything Shadowless is going to be worth more than its unlimited variant in most cases. All right, so let's take a look at this base set 2 Blastoise. So again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. This is your first time here, welcome. My name is Galaxia Gaming, and right now I'm cleaning some cards. This was a submission done by a community member under the cleaning service tier, under the advanced sub tier. That's pretty much what we're doing. Just cleaning cards, hanging out chat, trying to answer your guys' questions as best I can. Dodging trolls left and right. We out here. Awesome, Happy. I appreciate that. Anytime. And like I said, too, if you want kind of a second opinion, or if you're just kind of looking for just like a general assessment without the cleaning part, the grade review that we do in that Discord, I highly recommend. And there's some really cool people in our Discord, man. I'm super grateful that you guys have kind of made that place into a really like nice, welcoming community. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I love my community," but it is really nice to see it kind of grow. We've had it for almost over a year, guys. It's crazy that we've been kind of doing the Discord stuff, and because someone I actually was I jumped on their stream and I assessed one of their cards like 7 months ago. I was like, I cannot believe that we're almost at a 1-year mark for grade review. It's crazy. Is there any possible way that I can restore whitening on a card? No. I mean, in most cases, no. Because if you are going to restore, you're kind of dancing around the alteration aspect. So if you're trying to avoid things that are considered alterations, then no. But things like what I'm doing right here, I don't know if you guys can see it. It might be a little bit too bright. But there's some like dirt speckles above where it says evolves from Wartortle. So me using this distilled water and Q-tip to kind of get rid of some of that dirt is not considered an alteration. But if you use something like a yellow pen, for example, to like kind of, I guess the best way to describe it, like paint over those issues, that would be considered alteration. Yeah, I like what Apple said. And you guys shoot me a message, Apple. I meant to send you and one other person, Rod, moderator status on TikTok, so definitely shoot me a message. I have a Moonbrew I really want to attend, but I have doubts. I'll check out the Discord. Yeah, exactly. Mike, thanks so much for following. Appreciate you. And if I missed anyone who has followed over on TikTok or subbed over on YouTube, first, I appreciate it. How my chat is, I don't see a lot of those types of notifications quickly enough. Because my setup is in progress from being updated. So if I missed you, I appreciate it. Thank you. But so far, this Blastoise, there's a little bit of stuff, but really pretty clean altogether, all things considered. You know, just some little dust particles kind of stuck here and there. Got some dirt there, but all in all, pretty clean. It's always these yellow borders, man. These yellow borders just make this stuff like really just pop right out. Just look at the text real quick. So hopefully you guys are having a good night. I was actually able to, I was wondering if I was going to take a break. I have some Surging Sparks that I was able to find at a Walgreens. So I got those. Probably open those up a little bit, take a little checkpoint. If you want to repeat yourself, Joshua, it's not that I'm actively ignoring you. I just can only see 4 lines of chat at a time. So it's not that I'm trying to ignore you. So if you want to repeat yourself. What kind of Q-tip? Just, I don't know what it is specifically. If you go into my link tree, I have it all connected. I can't remember the exact one, but you need a Q-tip. How much per card? So if you're talking about the card cleaning service, it depends on what service you choose. So this one is the advanced. So it is 10 per card with a card minimum of 5. Because again, I try to do my best to you know, not only stream this, but do my due diligence to give the most accurate assessment as I can. But then with this one, I also give you kind of my general assessment on how much I think it would be. Or what the grade would be, rather. Yeah, be more. I mean, it's pretty much at the end of the day with Modern. That's pretty much all I do, to be quite honest with you. It's just like kind of like if there's like little normally like with stuff that you can kind of treat with a microfiber cloth. It's really just kind of I call them like the pack dust, like those little white specks that just somehow get stuck in a little groove in the back. That's normally all I do too, is just take a quick microfiber cloth to it. Right now I just got rid of that. There's a little bit of a thumbprint in that bottom right corner. They're able to kind of get rid of, but a little bit of a... But yeah, you don't have to be crazy, especially with Modern. You really don't have to get too crazy with it. All right, so let's take a look at this. The front of this actually is in pretty good shape. We're able to get rid of some dirt. So we got nothing crazy in terms of scratches. Pack Fresh pulled it, went instantly to his sleeve. There you go. So we do have a little bit of scratching here in that kind of like next to the bottom shell, but really not that bad. The edges are pretty good. There is a little bit of a silvering on this left edge. Best way to fix a card that's peeling on the corners? Ugh, there's really not much you can do, to be honest, then. That's outside the realm of altering. So sorry, that's never good when the card starts to peel. But overall, pretty good on the front. So let's take a look in the back, and hopefully it's just as good. Just to fix it in general, I mean, if you're just fixing it, I guess you could try to like glue it together, I guess, if you're not intending on selling it or just keeping it for your PC or your personal collection. But there's really not much, because even if you use glue, you're still going to have it be raised, and it's pretty much a lost cause at that point, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, anytime, Be More. That's, at the end of the day, man, that's really what I want this channel to be. You know, there's enough people trying to shove products down your throat, and all I do is, like, when someone asks me, like, services or things that I have, I'll answer you, but I'm not, like, actively trying to sell you stuff. Homie, thanks so much for following. I appreciate that. You know, at the end of the day, how well can you get ink off? Ink is... all depends, man. Like, if it's like a marker, I honestly haven't even cleaned a card with a marker on it. So that would be interesting. I don't know how much you could get off, depending on how long it's been on there for. But really depends. A pen? You could probably lighten it up, but you won't be able to get rid of it. Because I've had a few that have been like that, and I tried testing that exact same technique, and I've been able to kind of remove some of it, but not all of it. Especially with like a pen mark, because you have more of like a pen indent on the card, depending on how long the stroke of the pen was. But that's going to be really tricky. Even then, like, the moment there's like a pen on it, like, you're not getting that thing like above a 6. So right now I'm kind of getting rid of some dirt near the Pokeball here. Yeah, if you want to send it in the Discord, Josh. We got a media channel or a collections channel, whichever one. If it's part of a collection or you just want to kind of show it off. Or if you just want to submit it in the grade review channel on what we think it would get as a grade. I've asked this question like 15 times. I don't think he wants to answer. Not sure why. Like I said, I can only see 4 lines at a time, guys. When I'm not trying to ignore anyone. It's just simply I'm looking at a card and looking at chat at the same time. So it's I'm not throwing shade at anyone. Can you explain to me in depth the difference between fixing and altering? So I'll say what I kind of do, right? So what I'm doing is I'm addressing things that are added onto a card. So like dirt, grime, debris, stuff like that. So that's kind of where I kind of draw the line of cleaning. And then altering is like if you're using card wax to fill in, or like when you're adding something to a card to improve it. So like card wax, pens, glue, chemicals, anything like that. That's considered altering. That's kind of the really quick message. I appreciate that, Jordan. Thank you. The link to the Discord, Kenny, is in my bio in my link tree. Thoughts on PSA with GameStop? I think it's a great service, especially for folks who want to do it at the same time, or just want to grade one card at a time, rather. Yeah, John, just how my setup is right now, I'm kind of like in transition of making my setup a little bit better, because I got new stuff for stream. So right now, to be honest, I'm split screening off of a Google tablet that I have to look at both chats because I'm streaming both on YouTube and on TikTok. But again, I also have to respect the person who like submitted this as well. So I'm trying to get best of both worlds at the end of the day. Like I'm trying to talk with you guys to the best that I can. So I really appreciate all the patience as well when I'm trying to catch up with chat. At the same time, trying to make sure I don't miss anything with these cards as well. So with the Blastoise, so the front actually is in really good shape. The centering is really good. Just again, someone was asking me about like eye level or like eyeballing it. Is actually really good. So the centering is good. The only thing that I really saw was a little bit of silvering on that left edge. But aside from that, just general scratches on the front. Not too bad. More of like kind of like a near mint. But as we kind of look on the back here, we are noticing a little bit of surface wear, almost like that it's removing some of that blue ink layer. So that is, we're already kind of out of near mint at that point. But I would say that there's really not a lot of whitening around the corners in this case. So we're kind of looking at, you know, like just judging by how good the back looks from the whitening perspective, and how good the front looks from the hollow scratch perspective, I would probably assess this probably as a 6, because overall the card is in pretty decent shape. We were able to get a lot of like kind of obvious gunk, especially around the Pokeball on the back, and some of the edges on the yellow, which we were able to remove, I think, all of it from what I saw. So yeah, I'd say this is a pretty strong 6 in my opinion. But all right, so now we got to put this as a 6. And now, guys, I'm looking at chat. So if I missed your comment, if you want to resend it again, I'm looking. Epic, thanks so much for following over on TikTok. Appreciate you. And for those of you who are watching me on YouTube, welcome as well. I didn't forget about you guys. Sorry, I'm a little bit on a delay over on YouTube, so my responses over there are a bit limited, but and again, if you guys want to have your cards reviewed instead of cleaned, if you just want to have a general assessment on what I think your cards would get as a PSA grade digitally, we do have a grade review stream every Wednesday, which is going to be tomorrow, episode 51. Where am I based? Out of New York, Epic. How do you prepare your cards for grading? You're pretty much seeing it, honestly, NJ. I always go, like, any card that I submit, I'll go through, like, a quick cleaning process. And then I won't put the tags on here because I'm doing this as part of this cleaning service, but I'll just do an assessment of what I think the card would get. And then whenever it comes back, you know, if it gets the grade that I think it would get, which in this case, if this Blastoise is graded and came as a 6, I kind of update my stats. That's where a lot of my comments come from because I keep track of my grades. I keep track of my accuracy, so to speak. So that's where all of everything that I'm kind of talking about, I've been doing this since 2017. So that's kind of where all of my opinions on this stuff come from. Again, I'm not an employee or a professional through PSA by any means. Everything that I'm talking about is just strictly from lessons learned. That's pretty much all it is. Do I have any experience with BGS grades? No, I don't. Happy, to be quite honest with you. How accurate are you roughly? I actually just updated my accuracy on my website. I don't know the top of my head, because with the accuracy that I have, it's actual cards that I personally have submitted. I'd have to double check, but I'd say for 10s, because I don't really there's not a lot that I'll send for 10s because I've been really focusing more on vintage. But I think I'm like roughly just under 50% for 10s. And I think it was roughly like 80 or 90% for 9s, and then roughly the same thing for 8s and 7s, I believe. But my 6s and under are more or less not as good because I just don't have enough sample size for those. But, and cleaning, yes. Betty, how's it going? What up, what up? But yeah, if you go to my website and in my FAQ section, I think I just updated it not too long ago. All right, so let's look at this Pidgeot. The non-error, just the standard unlimited. But yeah, guys, if you want to take a look, it's in my FAQ section of my website. Joe, thanks so much for following over on TikTok. Appreciate you. Betty, liking the live. Thank you, guys. We're almost at 10K likes over on TikTok. I appreciate every single one of you being so patient. Because again, I'm trying to clean and read chat at the same time. Kind of gets a little bit hectic sometimes, but I definitely appreciate you guys. I try to, anytime I see a question or comment, I really try to do my best to give you, you know, as thought out of a response as I can. I don't want to try to ignore anyone, but sometimes with me yapping for as long as I do when responding, sometimes I miss you guys, so I definitely appreciate your patience as I try to answer as many questions as I can and as thoughtfully as I can. Am I able to ship you a card to clean? I'm new on here. Yes, Bay. So I will say that it is a service. So if you go to my website, which is my link in my bio, or if you just want to go to galaxiagamingtcg.com, in the support section, there is a card cleaning service section where you can kind of see all the available options for you. What do I use to clean? Just distilled water. Apple has that thing copy and pasted, ready to go. I appreciate you, Apple. Betty, if you're here, do you have the ability to add mods by chance? Because I don't know if you do or not. I think I did, but if you can, that'd be really helpful. Dang. Yeah, I didn't think you could. It might be more of a permission that I have to grant, maybe. Do I fix dots on the card? So dots, like if they're like dirt marks, yes. How do I get out small pen marks? Ooh, that's gonna be rough. So pen marks, possibly, but not guaranteed. But I'd still say, like, even with the pen mark, you're still gonna have that indentation of the pen. So like something like this little dirt mark that I'm addressing at this corner here, we're able to hopefully get rid of that. Do I have turnover time? Yeah, so all my services have an estimated turnaround time. So I think this one was either 25 business days, I think. I can't remember. But if you're talking about this service specifically. Carlos, thanks so much for following. Appreciate you. What are you using to wipe the dots off? Distilled water. I should have asked Apple to just do copy and paste, or paste again. I feel like if for those of you who are kind of just chilling, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna say just paste, and then I just want to see a flurry of just distilled water. I just want to see the chat flood. What about a white speck on the corner? So if you're talking about, like, when people ask me that, Epic, it's normally being asked, like, from like a pack fresh card, what can you do about like a bit of like whitening in a corner. Most often you can't do much, and man, you can kind of see the tip of this Q-tip. So all that brown on the tip is really all that dirt we've been able to get off this Pidgeot so far. Fusion, when you do circles on the card, it's not damaging it. So I'm trying to. It's really hard for me to articulate how hard I'm pressing. I'm really not putting a lot of pressure on the card. So I would say if I was really putting pressure, then yes, I would be worried about doing circles as well. But I haven't had any issues with it, to be quite honest with you, because I'm very, very gently doing these. Does what you do affect with grading? Yes, it does, Killa. It does. I have a lot of other cleaning videos that I've done in the past for cards that have come back. Like one, I don't know if I posted it yet. I think I have, with a Dark Zard first edition. And there is a bit of something stuck in the top right-hand corner. It was almost like, more or less, looked like a grain of salt that I was able to finally pluck off. And after it came back from grading, it came as a PSA 9, so... do I do one-piece cards? I don't at the moment, but I guess for cleaning services, I wouldn't see why I wouldn't. Andrew, thanks for the follow. I appreciate you. Oh, did someone ask? Did someone ask what I'm using? I know. Once I'm done with this retreat cost, it's definitely a Q-tip switch. I feel like that's what I need as an emote. It's just a Q-tip. A Q-tip, and then I need another one for distilled water. What's the best card you worked on the most memorable one? I would say so far has been the Hollow Umbreon from Skyridge that has also gone through the cleaning process that I've also streamed. That came back as a PSA 9. The only thing wrong with it after we fixed some dirt was some very, very mild scratching in the hollow, and that was pretty much it. And maybe like a white dot or two on the corner, but almost 10K likes on TikTok. Nice. Appreciate you guys. I'm still here for it. Well, thank you, Forget. Appreciate you, brother. So, the Pidgeot. Betty, thanks for liking the live. Appreciate you. So right now I'm kind of looking at the Pidgeot right now. Sin, thanks so much for the follow. Digital artist I'll do, but with chat, should I drop it in? I mean, I don't want to like make you think that you have to, but I mean, I definitely appreciate the gesture. I mean, if you want to, if you just want to DM it to me, I can definitely give you credit for it and whatever. And just let me know. I really appreciate that, Nikolai. Let's see. Anything else? Doesn't look like it. So we should be good. What's my favorite card in my collection? I would say for my personal collection, I would probably... It's kind of a boring answer, but I think it's very nostalgic. It's probably the Birthday Pikachu. Because I remember I wanted that so bad as a kid. Doing the local tournaments at the Toys R Us. So it's more nostalgic for me than anything, because I thought it was so cool that it was like almost encouraging you to write your name in it. What am I doing here? I'm doing what's called card cleaning. So I'm just kind of trying to get dirt and grime off these cards to have them be in the best possible condition as possible, while at the same time not doing anything that would alter the card. So kind of a nice little balance. So more so, this hollow is pretty good in the bottom left there. We do have a little bit of clustering on near the tip of this wing here. But like I've said before, normal types or colorless types are pretty tough to get good grades on, just because the lighter hollow makes it a lot easier to show scratches from a grader's perspective. Can you send my cards over to you to get them cleaned? Yes. So in my link in my bio, if you go to my website, if you go to the support section, there's card cleaning. And you can see all my available tiers there. So right now what you're seeing is one of those submissions sent to me by a community member. So the front, really the only thing that I see on the front, and I don't know if you guys can see it, I'm going to try to do my best, is that there's some mild scratching in like the text area. I don't know if you guys can see that at all. But it's kind of very, very minimal on this in the text section. So let's flip it over. And let's see what we got back here. So all this, so if someone were to ask me, you know, can I fix this whitening up here, like all on this top edge, I would say no, because the only way to fix that is if I had a blue marker, and I'm not looking to Sharpie any edges here. And I think after this one, I kind of want to, like I said, I got some Surging Spark from a Walgreens. So maybe I should open one up after. Take a nice little rip here. and just get sad that I threw away money. Yeah, I went to a Walgreens. There was some there, and I was like, man. All right, so this one is going to be... So I have to preface this. So what I'm seeing on my microscope is that there is dirt that is on top of whitening. I got a hollow and a hollow reverse Zard I want to get graded for X and Y. Sick. Well, like I said, Hikar, I don't know if this is your first time here, but we do a free grade review every Wednesday. It is first come, first serve, but that's in our Discord if you're interested. So if I remove this, basically it's going to reveal that white on the bottom. Or white underneath. Because there is dirt, but it is on that bit of whitening, because I can feel it. So I'm trying to see if I can just... Because the moment I remove that, someone's going to be like, oh, you made it worse. But I can see it. I can see the dirt underneath. So I'll probably just leave that alone, because I thought it was going to be able to get lifted off, but we'll just leave that. So these, hopefully we can get rid of on this Pokeball here. So let's see. This one doesn't feel raised either. Very dirty bird, for sure. But with this being an unlimited, probably not worth grading from an ROI perspective, but probably need, let's see, yeah, probably need another one. The Discord is in my bio, my friend. So if you go into my link in bio for my link tree, there should be a Discord icon that you can tap, and it should give you an invite to the Discord. No, Ja, or Ha. I think I had probably pronounced it Ha. So this, in my opinion, is what is considered addressing things that are added to a card, such as dirt or a thumbprint or dust or something like that. That's really all I'm removing. Because the analogy I give is like, if I put my thumbprint directly onto the card, me wiping off the thumbprint shouldn't be considered an alteration. And I think most people would agree with that. However, if I use something like card wax to try to fill in, or if I'm adding something to a card, such as card wax or like ink or something like that to fill in whitening, or chemicals to do something to improve the card, meaning like I'm adding something to the card, then that's where you're kind of dancing into the alteration. So again, all I'm doing is just removing kind of stuck on stuff, some dirt, some grime, stuff like that to the best of my ability without damaging the card. Anytime. Let's see. Hey, how's it going? Sorry, again, over on YouTube, my stream on there is a little bit delayed, so I apologize. How's it going? Can I see what card this is? I literally just logged in. Yes, you can. This is a Pidgeot. Pidgeot from Jungle. Just the standard. The symbol is there. So I apologize to you guys over on YouTube. It's a little bit delayed. I think with all the changes I had to make with TikTok getting banned and then not getting banned, I had to pretty much rebuild my whole Streamlabs configuration, so a lot of my settings kind of got blown away. Oh, what's the liquid I'm using, chat? Everyone copy paste. Paste now, paste now. What liquid am I using? The flood. The flood. There we go. Distilled water. There you go, Eric. I have some cards from the 90s found in my mom's shed. Not sure of the paste. Well, it's cool that you found your cards in your mom's shed, I guess. A little bit of dirt here. Nah, you're good, Quantum. All good. Be more, I appreciate you liking. We're at 9K likes. Appreciate you guys over on TikTok. All right. So that is pretty much all I can do on that. So let's take a look here. on this card. So we're looking at the back. So it's, again, it's kind of funny when we kind of look at it from an eye level. Yes, Night Timer. Or Night Timber. So that little bit of whitening there is kind of conveniently covered by dirt. And so if I kept going over that, probably would get even worse. So we're going to kind of leave it there. We do have some whitening kind of all on that top edge, as well as some of them on that bottom edge as well. But yeah, so I'd say overall, the centering is pretty good. There is some clustering of scratches next below the Pidgeotto there in the stage 2 box. We also have some mild scratching across the 30 here, as well as in the kind of the flavor text on the bottom. And we have some near the wing attack as well as the HP. So we're starting to kind of have more scratches both inside of the artwork as well as the outside as well. So we're already starting to kind of dance out of that near mint category for sure. We're kind of already in like light play. And as we flip it over, we just have really the mild whitening on the top edge here, in addition to some whitening on that left side. But I will say that there's really not much left that I can see. So I don't think this would really be in like moderately played. I'd say it's probably kind of like in that light play or a little bit worse, but still in light play section. So I'd probably give this around a 6, because I think this section of the holo is still in pretty good shape, as well as this backside. It's really just those clusterings underneath the Pidgeotto, the whitening up here, a little bit on that side, and then some of the scratches that are kind of near the text. But very, very mild scratches, though. It's really, you can't even really see it on stream. But that's pretty much what I'm seeing. So I'd probably assess that as a 6. So if you're trying to look, Chris, if you're trying to look for the services, you need to go under support. So if that's what you're trying to look for, I didn't catch what you were trying to look for specifically. So if you're trying to look for the service, it's under support. Anyway, lots of them are toast, but some look still nice. But the dirt on them. Wondering the solution you're using to clean. Do you say you have a Discord? Yeah, no worries, Quantum. Yeah, so I have a Discord. That can be, since you're in my watching me on YouTube, that should be in my description and my links below. So if you want to take a look at that. But yeah, all I'm using is just distilled water. But I would definitely recommend testing it on cards if you're going to try to do this yourself. Again, you know, you can kind of follow along with what I'm doing. But ultimately, you're going to have to kind of test it on your own. And I'd highly recommend testing it on cards that you do not care about, just in case. Do I prefer vintage over modern for grading? I think for me, Gaz, I do. Because I really think the older the card, the more impressive it is that it still like maintains such a good condition. Let's see. I was wondering if you have a list of all the things you use to clean. Yeah, so in my link tree, there should be a shop tab, like a shop slider. So if you go to the shop section, there should be cleaning supplies, and then just go in there. And I don't have like an affiliate code or anything. Just so many people ask me what I use. It's pretty much all in there. But this is a microscope. So the very specific microscope that I'm using today is a Tomlov DM201. And so before we let's take a little break and let's open up just one quick Surging Sparks. Let's see if wearing the new Galaxia Gaming hoodie gives me any luck here. And this is going to be probably very difficult to open with gloves. It feels like it is. We're gonna rip it. All right, let's see, chat. Do we get lucky wearing the hoodie? We're just going to get right into it. Iron Crown. No. But hey, we have 2 more. Redemption. Redemption time. We have to believe, chat. Oh, we're doing all 3. We're doing all 3. And then, if we get one that's worthy of grading, we'll put it under the microscope. Hear that, PAX? Alright. Let's go gambling. Aw, dang it. Come on, baby. That's not what we want, chat. We don't want a silly Tapu Koko. We want a rat with a crown on it. That's what we really want. how to use the humidor on the cards. So I just put it at 70% humidity, and I leave it in there for about 30 minutes. It helps with certain like flattening techniques if there's certain bends or creases, stuff like that. All right, chat. We're looking for the rat with the crown. The rat with the crown. That's what we're really looking for. Hey, we technically got a hit. Wow. Ooh. Ah. Look at us, chat. I mean, to be fair, I was able to find Surging Sparks at... It's so funny that I even have to say this. I found Surging Sparks at MSRP. What EV card is in that mystery pack in your shop? Are you talking about the Eve cards? Is that what you're talking about? If so, that is my mascot for my business. So for example, in some of the mystery products, you have the opportunity to get one of my mascots as a card. So there's 3 versions. So this is the pilot version, there's a casual version, and then there's a special rare version. So just a fun little thing, just to kind of, you know, fun brand stuff. Just some artwork that my digital artist has made. And just some cool ways to support me. Here's another one of her casual variant. And then there's the other one, which is a super rare, I guess, or a secret rare, however you want to put it, where my voice actor for my character and my digital artist both signed it. I got a lot of inspiration from, what is it, Y. Schwartz. So I got a lot of inspiration from them. Yeah. Just some cool stuff. At the end of the day, like the mystery products, I just try to make them not suck, to be honest, because there's so many that are just like super scammy and just basically a way to offload bulk. And I tried very hard. And I think Rod and Betty can probably attest to the mystery products if they want to kind of weigh in. But it was my way of trying to make it not bad. So this... Right off the bat, this Dark Dragonite is in really good shape. Japanese is always in such good condition. Hey, we just broke 10K likes over on TikTok. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. So let's take a look. There's really, based on the front, really not much on this one. So let's look. Maybe we'll have to take a look closer. But what I am seeing that I don't know if it's just a scratch or a fold... And I'll take a dry Q-tip here. I've probably gone through at least 8 Q-tips now so far. But right here, we have a little bit of either a scratch or a fold. I'm not too sure. Not too sure. We'll have to address that in a second. Try to see if this is... Trying to see if that's anything. It doesn't feel like it, so that might be just that black ink section just actually removed. That little white speck. This right here is what I'm kind of focusing on. Can the humidifier make the fold better? In certain cases, it can. But it really depends on the severity of the fold, to be quite honest with you. It really depends. Because it's like more or less that folds or bends have a degree of memory to it, if that makes sense. So like even though if you like flatten it out, sometimes it can kind of bounce back to that specific position. So it's not always guaranteed, but it definitely helps for sure. All right, let's see. And sometimes with Japanese, sometimes it's hard to differentiate between if there's actually a dirt mark or if it's just kind of hollow or a little bit of speckle pattern underneath. Because sometimes the Japanese cards have that kind of look to them, which is really interesting. So sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. But this one really doesn't have much. Just some like very loose hair stuck to it, but who knows, it's from my cat or what. Who knows? which luckily she's sitting right next to the radiator. It's like super cold in my house. She loves to like lay on the radiator, full belly out. Getting all nice and cooked. Because it's crazy. Cats will literally like jump in a fire and be like, I'm chilling. I'm good. Cats are crazy, man. Yeah, there's really not much I need to do, at least on the front of this Dragonite. Because, like, there are, like, very, very mild scratches. And the only reason why we can see them, is quite honest with you, is just because we have the microscope. And, like, we're doing... It's looking really good. It's really looking good. Nice little swirl there by the tail. But, yeah, let's take a look here. Show you guys a little bit closer. But yeah, that is a extremely clean Dragonite. And so the only part that I was actually going to look at, and it is a slight fold up in that top right corner. I don't know if you guys can see it. I had to kind of take it out of the 2D plane there, but what supplies you're using to clean cards? That is going to be in my link in my bio in my link tree. Just go to the shop section. You'll see cleaning essentials. Have you sent a card to PSA to get grading, then send it back after cleaning it to get a better grade? I haven't, in the sense of like I get a card, I crack it, and submit it to see if I get a better one. I normally have them in the raw form first, clean them, and then submit them, but I haven't done that, Anthony. This is a commission, Miguel. So this is someone that has gone through my cleaning service, and this is their cards right now. But yeah, this Dragonite, aside from that little issue there, and so this underneath, which I was actually looking at under the microscope, this little dot underneath that kind of flat line is a bit of the hollow showing underneath. That's why I couldn't see it. But then that is also the same as well in this little symbol in the center there. So both of those are little bits of hollow kind of showing underneath, but very, very minimal. And this little fold on the top corner. But aside from that, so far this card's in extremely good shape. Can I turn a PSA 9 into a 10? I mean, I guess it really depends. It's not like what I do, like, kind of waves a magic wand and gets you an instantly better grade. It really just depends on, like, what was wrong with it. One example I can show once I'm done with this Dark Dragonite is actually a PSA 7 Vaporeon that probably could be improved on if clean, because there is notable dirt stuck onto the card that when the person who submitted it originally didn't address. But it's still, that probably isn't a guarantee because there is still some scratches on the hollow specifically. Dingus, thanks so much for liking the live. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Tuesday. Yeah, it's all good, Dingus. I mean, like, at the end of the day, that's why I try to do this stuff, and that's why it's so cool for you guys to like and share and whatnot. Because I try to just do my best to kind of show you guys what I personally do from a small business perspective. I always kind of try to make sure that I at least kind of give my best presentation, I guess, of a card before I send it in, because PSA won't remove this stuff for you. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Are we using a cleaner or some sort? What are we using, chat? What are my pasters ready to launch here? What are we using? I appreciate that, Dingus. Thank you so much for the kind words. Comments like that really do mean a lot. There we go. Distilled water. Yeah, aside from that, a little bit. Again, a lot of these little micro scratches are kind of like, if I do this, I'm really superimposing a lot of these scratches. And to be honest, they're really not going to focus too much on that because I'm really like highlighting it. You know what I mean? Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for hanging around over on YouTube. Appreciate you, Brad. I will see you around in the next one. But hopefully, on a side note, for those of you who got Prismatic, hopefully you, A, got it at MSRP, And if you decide to open it, hopefully your pulls were good. So I think people are already starting to call it tragic evolutions. We got Evolving Cries. We had Chilling Pain. Which solution am I using? I am using distilled water. I heard it's not worth the price. Are you talking about the prismatic? Yeah, I mean, can you remove whitening in the corner? It really just depends, Mingus. If it's like stuff that's kind of stuck on there, yes. But if it's like an issue from the pack, most likely no. All right. So this Dark Dragonite. So I'd say overall, like we're kind of seeing here, you know, it's in pretty good shape. Like, it's not like mint or anything like that, but I'd probably say just how clean the foil is. It's in very, very good shape, the holo of this Dark Dragonite. The centering is actually in pretty good shape. There is just that very, very small kind of like fold on the top there, if you can even see it. Oh, nice, Soldier. 4 Master Balls, man. That's sick. I got to rip 1 ETB and binder. Awesome, World. Well, that's awesome that you guys are even getting them and being able to open them. That's really cool. The holo is really good. And the back. And let's see. There's actually one that I can see here that I'm just going to address. And again, that's why I like to kind of do that little shine test, because there are some things that you can't really see sometimes on a 2D plane. So let's see if we can... This still... It is not. I have an EV4 from Twilight Masquerade. There's some specs on the border of the card. Who is your favorite Pokemon? So I'd say my basic answer is Jolteon. But if I couldn't pick an evolution, it would be Victory Bell. I thought Victory Bell was just so cool of a Pokemon as a kid. I don't know why. I think it was because my mom let me pick out a plant at like a local hothouse, and I was like, oh, what's this plant? It's like, oh, it's a Venus flytrap. It literally eats flies. I was like, that's sick. Negative Aura. Oh, okay, Happy. You're cool before, but you're going to talk smack about Victory Bell. There's the door. I'm getting nothing but 9s and 8s. Should I be prepping my cards for grading? It really just depends, World. I would say if it's your first time here, definitely check out some of the videos that I've done for grade review, because there might be some things like centering that might be impacting your ability or like your expectation to getting a 10. It could be white in corners. It could be several other things. Right, Happy. Yeah, I was cool before I opened my mouth, right? See, now we're just disappointed at each other. You talking smack about my Victory Bell, and I'm opening my mouth that it's my favorite non-evolution, because Jolteon's my favorite. But I would say for this card, to be honest with you, I think the holo is in such good shape that I'd probably say that this would most likely get a PSA 7, in my opinion. Because I've had, it's kind of nice, with some of the submissions that I've done for Japanese have been even slightly worse than this Dark Dragonite that have come back as 7. So that's kind of where that opinion's coming from. Oh, awesome, Poke. Well, welcome. Hopefully I'm good, what people like to call second screen content, where if you're working on your homework and you have me in the background. I'm confused about the buyback program. I'm confused on what that means. Yeah, so basically what that means is it's a way that if you want me to clean your cards, but then offer you what I would pay them, basically, since I already have your cards, like let's say you wanted the buyback program for this Dark Dragonite, and I just assessed it as a PSA 7, which I think is near mint. So what I would do, if you opted in for the buyback, I would give you an offer, market price of 75% of this card after I've cleaned it. So then you can choose whether or not you want to accept the offer, or you just simply want to ship back to you. It's completely free. It's just basically if you're interested in selling the card to me after it's gone through the assessment, versus having it get returned back to you and then you kind of having it on your own, it just gives you a way to kind of almost like what GameStop is doing, where they're doing buybacks, where if you get your cards graded through them, and then they have the ability to where you can just simply sell it through them. That's what that is. Machamp and Lugia, there you go. Vulpix and Zard, Hikaru, nice. We got a Blaine in the chat. What do you think is going to be the next generation, since we're more than halfway through Scarlet and Violet? Like, you mean like what the name is going to be, like Red and Blue or Gold and Silver? Is that what you mean, Jacob? If so, I really have no idea. I feel like they're kind of running out of, like, maybe like Yin and Yang. I don't know. But who really knows? Because they're coming out with some others, like they're coming out with Pokemon ZA, right? They're doing that like XY remake, kind of like what like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, stuff like that. Fire Red, Leaf Green, like kind of like the reboot, right? At least that's my understanding. All right, next up, some more Fossil, or not Fossil. Kangaskhan, I feel like, is a dinosaur, so that's why I said that. From Jungle. Man, couldn't tell you why it was so hard for me to come up with the word jungle. I always thought Jade and Iron. Ooh, that's actually kind of cool, Free. Jade and Iron. That's pretty sick. What would be like the update set? You know, like how like Red and Blue, and then they have Yellow or Gold and Silver, and then they have Crystal. What would be the third for that? Yeah, I don't know why I said Fossil, Hikaru. I really don't know why. It just looks like a dinosaur, so I just like instantly thought, oh, dinosaur Fossil. Easy. Good old Kangaskhan. Let's see. I should have said doing my research. I'm old and I have my own business. Oh, there you go. That's funny. Have to be like a Leaf Psychic Metal theme. Yeah. Yeah, dude. I love me some vintage, man. I'm really glad that this submission had pretty much everything from base set, jungle. I don't think there was any Fossil, but it had some Team Rocket, had some Neo stuff. We actually just, to start a stream, we just cleaned a Lugia, which is pretty cool. But again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Keep me company while I pretty much just clean cards and talk with you guys. So I really do appreciate all the kind words and hanging out, nerding out on some Pokemon. What better way to enjoy a Tuesday than talking shop, right? JT, thanks for following. I appreciate that. Which one? It was the one from Neo Genesis. Let's see. So this is the pile that we've done so far tonight. So is this one assessed as a PSA 6? There was a Topps yesterday. Yep. Forgot about that. That was this one. The non-holo Topps Zard. Oh, yeah. The Gen 2, the Gen 2 Zard chase. You know it's getting rough when I have to slow down so I don't trip over my own words. But yeah, the Kangaskhan and the Vaporeon from Jungle, the unlimited stuff, is way more common than the other holos of the set, because those two in particular were from a structure deck. So that's why that's why there's always so many of them floating around. Will you ever do a grade reveal on submissions? What do you think they'll get and what they are? Yes, Loud. I actually have a submission still stuck at PSA land, whatever. They're still researching it after a month and a half. But I did do what I thought that they were going to get prior, and they actually all went through the cleaning process on stream. So you can see me cleaning the card, what I think it's going to get, me submitting it, and then when it's ultimately going to come back. So I'll definitely be doing that. Does anyone in your Discord collect One Piece? I want to show off my... Oh, yeah. Hikaru, if you post in the collections channel, for sure there are people who absolutely love One Piece. I know Rod... I don't know if he's in here still. He loves One Piece. The big One Piece guy. Yeah, definitely nerd out, man. Send your collection. Send whatever you got. Nerd out with some fellow One Piece fans. Maybe finally find the One Piece so the show or the manga can actually end. Not throwing shade or anything. It just seems like that's like the longest. Is that the longest running anime? Or is there any that have run longer than One Piece? It has to be the longest running, right? But who knows? I'm an old head, man. Like if an anime has longer than like 30 episodes, I'm like like already zoning out. Like I'm a big like Cowboy Bebop, Ghost in the Shell, Serial Experiment Lane is a good one. What else? Neon Genesis Evangelion. Like I'm an old head. Samurai Champloo. But there's one that I'm super excited for, and I cannot... Maybe someone has to look it up for me, but it was the director for Cowboy Bebop is making a new anime. I don't know if it's called Lazarus. It might be called Lazarus or something along those lines. That's coming out soon or has come out. Super, super stoked for that. Something about, like, some medicine that keeps you alive forever or something. I can't remember. But that looked really good. I saw like one trailer for it like a year ago, and I haven't really heard about it much. Oh, thanks so much, Lisa. I appreciate that. Yeah, pretty much all I'm doing, man, is just like cleaning cards, looking at cool cards. Just fun. It's fun to try to restore this stuff as much as I can. And ultimately, this card on the front is actually pretty decent. The holo, especially for a colorless type, is not that bad. Just a little bit of clustering on that bottom left-hand corner, but aside from that, we're able to get some dirt off, so we'll see what we can get on the back. Well, I appreciate that, Lisa. If there's any other questions, too, that may come up or anything like that, please let me know. And I'd be more than happy to try and address them. Do I clean cards for people on TikTok? Well, I do have it as a service that people like kind of discover it through TikTok. As well as YouTube or wherever you're watching me from. But yeah, I have a card cleaning service. It's in my website, which is in my bio. Under support, there's a card cleaning. And that's, so basically what you're seeing is someone who has submitted their cards for cleaning submission. And I'm basically just showing you the process. This is under the advanced tier. So not only do I clean these cards, but I'll also give my assessment on what I think they would get as a PSA grade. And in addition, for me doing that, kind of like to kind of share my background, I do a live stream every Wednesday, so I'll do another one tomorrow. Thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate that. So every Wednesday, I'll do a grade review to kind of help people for free give an assessment of what I think their cards would get as a PSA grade. And some have some have followed up with what they've gotten when they have submitted them, if they do. And so far, we've been pretty accurate, which is kind of cool. So all that experience, in addition to me doing this since 2017, ultimately I'm just sharing my experiences personally. And that's why I stick with PSA, just to keep my data the same. Because if I use like things like BGS or CGC, it just makes it harder for me to now have to like learn what like each grading company's criteria are versus just sticking with one. That's kind of the only reason why I stick with PSA, to be quite honest with you. That and having it be, you know, the hobby's best way to have like a better return on your investment or a better ROI. What's the 40-60 rule for centering? That's a good question. So the 40-60 rule, that's more on the front. So basically, if like, let's imagine that I had a millimeter ruler. And so let's say that the left side measured 3 millimeters thick from the edge to the border here, and then 3 millimeters on this side. It would be 50-50 ratio. So like so if you added both, so 3 millimeters plus 3 millimeters would be 6 millimeters. If you divide the one side by 6, it'd be 0.5, and then the other would be 0.5. So that's where you get the 50-50. So let's say, you know, in this example, just to make it easier because my math is bad. So let's say that this side was 1 millimeter thick, and this side was 3 millimeters thick. It would be 25-75% ratio. So that's kind of why. So that's where that 40-60 rule kind of comes in. It's just the ratio on the centering of those borders, both on the front and on the back. Do you ever buy expensive low grade cards to clean up, repair, and resubmit like a grading play? Sometimes I do, but I normally buy them raw versus like getting them cracked. Like one, I'll just kind of explain real quick. So I picked up this Vaporeon not too long ago as a PSA 7, and one of the things that I noticed was that there was actually some dirt still left on the P here. And let me actually let me assess this Kangaskhan. I'm kind of jumping all over the place. So let me assess this first, and I'll get back to that. So this Kangaskhan, so going back to the centering question, it's actually pretty good centering. It's probably slightly thicker on the right side than it is on the left, but going back to what Sin said about the 40-60 rule, it's definitely within that range for sure. So the right side, although it's slightly thicker than the left, we're still within that range for it not to matter. The upper part, so this top left part is actually a really good condition for hollow. A little bit of scratching in the bottom here and some scuffing in the bottom left corner and the top right corner of the hollow. But aside from that, there's only a very small scratch underneath where it says coins. I don't even know if you guys can see it on stream or not, but it's right there. Very slight though, but all in all, really good on the front. And on the back, we really only have 2 little dots of whitening, which is these 2 up here. So I'd probably say with this card specifically, you're kind of getting into... So normally when I start to see kind of like these clustered scratches, I tend to kind of make it go back a little bit by a point or 2, because the clustering really kind of defines those scratches in those particular areas. So you might be able to squeeze around with a 7, but with those you might be getting the 6. So it's kind of like, to be honest with you, it's kind of on that edge. To be quite honest, with kind of those clustering being more noticeable on a colorless type. But I'm just kind of taking it at a different angle here on the side. I'm just kind of taking one quick look here, because it is so kind of like on the fence that you might be able to get away with the 7 for this one because the back is so good. But again, with the Kangaskhan specifically, you know, you're probably not wanting to grade it just because it is so common. But that's kind of my guess. Can it still get a 10 if it's 60-40? I mean, based off of what they say, yes. But to be quite honest with you, Sin, what I recommend personally is I normally stick with 55-45 ratio, because it makes it a little bit more digestible to me, to be like, okay, like I'm really close to that 50-50, even though you say online 60-40. Like, I really want it to be as close to 50-50 as possible. In my personal opinion, for the cutoff is more of like 55-45. But technically, on like based on their site, if it's 60-40, it should still score a 10 in that centering category. But I don't know. I've seen some that have been questionable, to be quite honest with you. I have a card that's perfect 50-50 left-right, but 60-40 top-bottom. Is that still a good chance for PSA 10? Like I was just saying to Sin, Lisa, I mean, technically on paper, yes. But who knows? You know, who knows with graders and whatever. The top order isn't even visible. Yeah, it's really just kind of like a gamble at the end of the day, to be quite honest with you. Like, again, I'm more comfortable with 55-45, but technically their site says 60-40. So it's really kind of up in the air, to be really honest with you. All right, next up, we got the base set Venusaur. Always a solid card. So let's take a look. Another Q-tip. We got at least, I don't know if we're in the double digits yet. I don't know if we just hit our 10th or not. But oh yes, Apple. Yes, thank you. I will show the specs on the Vaporeon. So this is a good example. I mean, I still think that it probably would get a 7, but this is a good example on why I think you should do this. So this Vaporeon EX that I won on auction got a PSA 7. But one of the things that I saw both on the scan of the listing and in person is these little dirt marks that are still stuck onto the card. And so I'll take a little tool here. So right here, so right where the tip of my tool is, like right in this section, and actually it's not even pointed. So let's let's use something else. So this right here. So right where that P is, right where the tip of my Q-tip is, that's actually on the card itself in the case. So additionally, all these little bits here are also on the card inside of the case. So this stuff will impact your surface subgrade for sure. And so like this here, probably on that little part of the Pokeball, maybe there. What else? This on the N. This, whatever, this is like a thumbprint or something. I'm not too sure on this edge here. So that thumbprint could also impact the surface. And then there is another one too here on this EX section. So right here, what appears to be, I don't know where my Q-tip is. So right here, there's a little bit of like yellowing or something stuck onto that EX part. I think that was what I saw at first glance. And this right here, here's another one. So right under where it says evolves from Eevee, you got that little speck right there that's also stuck on the card. But I think with all like, because this actually might be on the case, but who knows? Maybe this might be a good test that like if I could clean those off, maybe I'd still try to submit it if the holo isn't that bad. Because the back looked pretty clean other than that, but there's some like mild scratching here. But then the back really didn't have a whole lot of whitening, which was pretty good. So, but yeah, so all those little dirt marks, man, will ultimately have an impact on your overall surface subgrade, which you don't want to give them any reason to. You really don't want to give them any reason to dock you points. So that's why I do this. That Vaporeon EX, I probably should just keep it like that, to be quite honest with you, as like an example. But it goes to show that with Vintage, you really need to give it a good... Yeah, I mean, just with anything. You know, like even with Modern, sometimes there could be a little bit of speck of dust stuck onto it, you know, from the pack. That happens very often. I've seen it with my own cards. Who knows? Maybe there might even be... I just opened up some new cards here. My really bad Surging Spark pulls. Let's see. I'm sure there's something. Let's see. There's gotta be one. Because sometimes there will be some stuff stuck on it. Maybe not. Maybe, of course, I have like a batch that doesn't have any. But anyway, there could be some stuff that's stuck onto it that you'll just simply have to just wipe off with a microfiber cloth just so it's not stuck on there when you submit it. So, is there a good starter restoration kit you recommend? I don't know about a kit, Lisa, but if you go, I don't have like an affiliate code or anything like that, but if you go to my link in my bio in my link tree, I have all the things that I use on stream to clean cards. But I would say if you are going to go into it, like what Apple said, definitely test it on cards you do not care about. Meaning, like, if you, like, put a hole in it, would you be upset? You know, if you say yes, then don't test on that card. If you say no, like if it's like an energy card or something like that, like a super old one, those are probably the best cards to test on, to be quite honest with you. A little bit of some corner stuff we're trying to get rid of here. But that's my recommendation for sure. Always test with stuff, because like, for example, one thing that I really can't demonstrate well, because it's, you know, you're seeing it from a camera, is how much pressure I'm actually putting on these cards, which is like, I'm putting next to no pressure onto these cards, because I don't need to, you know, really dig in and have like the more stiff cardboard section of my Q-tip dig into the card, you know what I mean? And so I'm like barely putting any pressure onto these cards. And see, this is a really good example of silvering here for base set jungle fossil is very, very common. So all this silvering on this edge, because this happened when the blades, when they were cutting these cards, were starting to get so dull that it was starting to take away some of that top layer off, which is why it's called silvering. Very common for base unlimited, jungle, fossil. Very common, because they did not care. They did not care about replacing blades, because the kids didn't care. they're gonna eat them in the damn playground. You know, they didn't care. They're rolling in it. They're rolling in the money. Let's see. Got a little bit there. Yeah, well, if you guys are new here, like I said, I'm going to be streaming also tomorrow, doing a grade review, which is going to be episode 51, I believe, where I review community members' cards for free to kind of give my assessment on what I think they'll get. Cal, thanks so much for following. I appreciate that. So if you guys want to check me out, I'm also streaming tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, where I'm going to be reviewing some of your guys' cards. And additionally, if you over on Discord, I'm going to actually, once the stream ends, I'm going to launch a poll. Golfer, thanks so much for following the live, where I'm going to have you guys pick one of the 3 Prismatic Evolutions ETBs that I was able to snag from a local game store near me, and have you guys pick which box I'm going to rip and get bad pulls from, so I can blame you guys instead of blaming it on me. So I'll have that poll live in the Discord tonight, probably. Koss, thanks so much for following. Appreciate that. Yeah, let's take a look at this Venusaur a little up close. But yeah, I got some dirt off of that. Just trying to see if I see anything else. But yeah, we're still live. We are still live. So Venusaur is actually looking pretty good, to be quite honest with you. Was able to get some dirt off on the edges here. The hollow actually looks in pretty good shape, just standard silvering like I talked about before. So really not much to report. We're just going to kind of turn it around and keep on cleaning. So the less I talk, the better the condition is. So that's good. And right there, we're able to get some dirt off there. Apple should still be in here. I think he's been here since the start of stream. He's a trooper hanging in. A little bit of dirt there. Let's see if that's a little bit of fuzz or just ripped off, and it doesn't look like it. But yeah, really not much. I mean, there's some dirt marks here and there. Apple, I don't know why you have to call me out like that, dude. I don't know why you have to call me out like that, alright? Just because I'm trying to prevent people from getting their 5-win badge doesn't mean you have to out me like that. So here's a good example here. So we have, hopefully you guys can see it. So we have 1, 2, these 2 little dots that were very similar to that Vaporeon EX. So stuff like that can just be so easily removed just from a quick brush of the moist Q-tip. And right there, it would be less ammo for them to reduce your grade. Then again, that's why this stuff isn't, in my opinion, considered alteration, because you're just removing stuff stuck onto the card. I might need to get a new Q-tip. I want to make sure that stuff we just removed isn't coming back. But yeah, I'll definitely, once I'm done with stream, I'm going to post in the Discord, and you guys are going to help me pick what Prismatic Evolutions ETB I should open. And I'll probably open that up tomorrow during grade review, is my intention. The one thing I will say is this Venusaur is very bottom heavy, for sure. It's got a little dumpy on it, for sure. This little bit of yellow is like really persistent. Looks like it's moving, but might have to keep it there for a little bit again. Seem like the middle child, so I'd say box 2. Interesting. There we go. As much as we can do on that one, that's still pretty persistent, so we'll just leave that there. Got a little bit of it off, but still a little bit there. But anything else? Let's see. Let's see. That's really all I'm kind of seeing, to be honest. But this is what I was kind of talking about. This bottom part is very bottom heavy. Awesome, Happy. Yeah, looking forward to seeing it. Yes, we got a little bit of a dump truck on there. That's all good, Happy. Trust me, it's sometimes pretty hard, to be quite honest with you, especially for some cards that are like more textured and some of the art's kind of going off on the borders and stuff like that. Okay. So the assessment of this Venusaur. So the bottom on the front is actually a little off center now. The bottom to the top, but I still think it's within that range. Nothing crazy popping out. Just again, some silvering, what I was talking about before. Very mild scratching. I mean, it is noticeable, but very mild, all things considered, around the artwork. So far, so good there. And then the back is really just the off-centering. Is pretty aggressive on the bottom. So I'd say, like, if this were, like, immaculate, just the centering alone, you probably would be looking at, like, a 9 or an 8, depending on, like, what this would... Because I think it's 70-30. Where you start to kind of get into, like, past the 70-30 on the back, you're starting to get into that range. And that is pretty noticeable. But I would say, you know, all things considered, there's not a lot of whitening on the edges. So I think this would be a pretty good 7 contender. That's, like, one thing I've noticed with this set so far, or with this submission so far, is that everything has been within, like, more or less, like, the 6 or 7s, which, you know, to be fair, like, near mint to light play for vintage, I still think is pretty good. To be quite honest with you, because a lot of us, including myself, didn't take the best care of these cards, which is why, like, that's why I personally love grading vintage, because, like, the fact that some of them can even come back as 8s or higher is pretty impressive, how much it's, like, withstood the test of time. You know, because I think even with, like, a PSA 8, you're already going up near mint plus, and that's, you know, in my eyes, you're kind of looking at it being more or less pack fresh. Sounds good, Happy. Sounds good. Let's see. Probably got time for one more, and then I'll hang out with you guys for a bit. But again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow, too. I'm not ending yet. But, yeah, I hope to see you guys tomorrow as well. All right, next up is the Raichu. So let's take a look. And it's going to be 1 second. Did it freeze on me? No, it didn't. Okay. There we go. My YouTube froze there for a second. All right, Raichu. Let's take a look. At the Pikachu that could have. Let's see. So far, not a lot of dirt I can tell, or I can see rather. Again, the silvering, man. The silvering on this arrow is just running rampant. So again, that's why I'm really not surprised to see silvering on these base sets so far with the Venusaur and this Raichu. But the L border is good. Let's look at the just double check this HP here. Get a little bit of that evolved here. There we go. It's always worth to kind of take a double look. There we go. Get some stuff stuck onto that hollow there. I can see, but again, we got to be really careful, especially around the hollow. We don't put too much pressure on it. The Raichu's looking good. Let's really just got to look at the text. And if the text is good, then we're pretty much ready to turn over on the back. Yeah. This Raichu is looking pretty good. And we'll do a quick shine test for chat, as well as myself. Because again, it's really kind of very mild scratching on the hollow next to on the left there. And a little bit on that right side too, but pretty good. All in all. So let's just get right after the back. And I think I said it before, but it's really important to have this foam on the bottom, because this plate right here is obviously made out of metal and textured. So it's a really good idea to have this little mat to kind of move it around a little bit. All right, so easily got some. That was a nice chunky piece of dirt there. Some whiting there on the edges. Yeah, man, so far so good. Making my job easy. I thought that was 800 grit sandpaper. Really? Yeah, just, you know, casually just leaving some cards on some sandpaper. That's how I get the clicks, right? It's like, is this man really resting Pokemon cards on top of sandpaper? And then once you're in here, I gotcha. Hook, line, and sinker. I mean, really the fact that people are wondering, because I mean, it's like, it's not really a common thing, right? Like doing something as interesting as like cleaning a card, right? Like it's not a common thing to do. So that alone, especially with like what I'm using to clean it, like in terms of like a cleaning solution or anything like that, that gets people in here. But man, I can imagine if someone thought I was using sandpaper to rest these cards on. But yeah, I mean, all in all, this Raichu, you know, it's not like 9 or probably even an 8 by any means, but it's still pretty clean. You know, some mild scratches on the hollow, and on the back, really we just have like some very mild whiting on that left corner and kind of up there too. But I would say, you know, overall, you know, you're probably looking at, again, a 7. Now I feel like now, like, after buying so many 7s and cracking them and kind of getting a better idea on what like an actual 7, like an actual near mint is from PSA standard, it's actually been pretty good that I've been kind of cracking more 7s to have a better idea on what really constitutes as a near mint, which has been nice, because there's been a lot of instances where I think a card is like a 7 and it comes back as an 8 or something like that. But it's kind of nice to kind of have a little bit better knowledge on the 7s. But at least from, again, more just from personal experiences here. All right, so we're actually pretty close. I won't be able to do the rest of them tonight, but we got a pretty good amount done, to be honest. We had a pretty good chunk done. But let's do a quick review here on what we have done so far. So we had so I guess, yeah, we'll just do from what we just did to working our way back. So the Raichu assessed as a PSA 7. A lot of 7s and 6s tonight. The Venusaur base set from PSA 7, a PSA 7. That's why I know I'm starting to get tired. Kangaskong, Jungle, not Fossil, PSA 7. Japanese Dark Dragonite, PSA 7. Pidgeot, Jungle, assessed as a 6. Blastoise base set 2, assessed as a 6. The Clefairy was assessed as a PSA 3 because of the 4 almost like staple impacts. And the one that started today's stream, which was the Lugia from Neo Genesis, assessed as a PSA 6. Again, that hollow section is pretty rough for the Lugia specifically. And then from yesterday, the Heracross, PSA 6, base set 2 Venusaur, PSA 6, Togetic, PSA 7, Charizard. The first time I've ever actually assessed a Topps card, so this one may or may not be as accurate as some other submissions, but this was assessed as a PSA 6. The Blastoise from base set, PSA 7, and last but not least, Dark Blastoise, First Ed, Team Rocket, PSA 7. So again, guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I will have to figure out a time to finish up the rest, but we're very close. We have the Zapdos, Nidoking, Dark Vileplume, Chansey, Pikachu, and Alakazam. So we have 6 cards left of this submission to finish up cleaning and then send it back to its rightful home. But if you guys want to see me again, I'm going to be streaming tomorrow, both on YouTube and TikTok, for Grade Review episode 51, where instead of reviewing my cards or the cards that I've had for this cleaning submission for a PSA grade, I review your cards. So again, that is going to be tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And I'm also going to be sharing in the Discord. You guys are going to help me pick what prismatic ETB we're going to open, so that I can blame you guys or applaud you guys if I get anything good or bad. So we'll see. So again, I really appreciate all the love, support. You guys have been absolutely phenomenal. You guys are definitely the people and the reason why I love doing this so much. It really does mean a lot, all the support that you guys give. And I am super stoked to stream for you guys tomorrow. So have a great rest of your night. You're going to probably hear me wheel over to my desk to turn off stream. Maybe you might see my cat. Who knows? But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe. And yeah, catch you guys again tomorrow. How many times can I say tomorrow? We'll do it one more time.